So really glad to be here and talking to such a big audience after 2 years. So just repeating what Dirk said before, Malik said by video, so it's really impressive. Thank you for being here. It's really an honor. It's an honor to also give the opening speech to this Connect conference at such a lovely place in Dresden. I just was talking to the representative of Dresden. I said I have been not here for the last couple of years, even if I have some personal private relations here. So I took a walk yesterday, just seeing around how much history is in the city here. Really impressive. Impressive is also the agenda of this event. When I was reading through the agenda, I was impressed to see how broad the spectrum of topics is that we would like to discuss in the next 2 days, and how relevant they are. Relevant in terms of looking back the last 2.5 years of pandemic, things have changed so fast, and what we have learned is digitization is key, not just for us as an industry, as the telco industry, but for the entire industry. And the entire industry, not just in Germany, in Europe, it's worldwide. Maybe a question to the audience. Who of you, and it's a link over to my first page then, who of you have paid in the last, I don't know, 12, 18 months at a bakery shop with an e-pay service like Google Pay, Amazon, Apple Pay, credit card, whoever? So quite some hands up. Who did it 3 years ago? Yeah? Just a very few hands. So these are the so-called early adopters. You see, there is a need of digitization if there is really a problem statement. And why do I mention this? Customer demand is changing. So when we talked about building 5G networks, when we talk about Industry 4.0, it's all fine when we talk about technology and what is possible, but if there's no concrete use case, if there's no problem statement that needs to be solved, it's useless. So therefore, it's important to understand what our customers are looking for, what do they need, what is the problem we have to solve. I just said before in one of the side talks before this event here, in 3G we also already said we are able to connect the fridge to the internet, but there was no need, no use case for that. Now with payment services, paying contactless in such a situation we have been in the last 2-3 years, there was a concrete need. So you see customers will pick it up, and they do not pick up the technology, they pick up the service of paying contactless and protecting themselves. Technology enables it. And I think that's what we as an industry have to think about. What do we enable? And then to start looking from that perspective. So we see over the past years, the data trend, the growth in data, it's tremendous. And it's just taken up significantly over the past years because connectivity becomes really a value. Might it be mobile connectivity, might it be a fixed connectivity? In 5G, with SD-WAN technologies, this will all come together. And connectivity is just one word, and below that, there's quite a lot of complexity. We have seen this in the past in fixed area, where SD-WAN was introduced in order to avoid this complexity of managing different access types of connectivity and simplify this one. The same will happen in 5G. What we need to understand, and this is not just something we as a telco industry need to look at, is how can we improve the customer experience of our customers? And our customers, it's a good question. Who is our customer? Is it the industry? Is it the end customer? Is it the customer of our business customers? I think that's the important part. And understanding this is only possible if we as a telco industry, and I'm really glad to see on the list of partners of this event that we have also the hyperscalers, in that we have application solution providers in here, because it's us and we need to define together what is the solution that we bring to the customer. And this is also one of the learnings. I will come to this on one of the later slides, to think about how can we do this, because usually telco operators tend to say, we have a standard, we implement the standard and say this is the product, and we go to the customer and tell, hey customer, we have built this one, and this is the product, use it. And then the customer said, it's maybe not exactly what I need. So we did not meet the customer need. So therefore, this is really an important one. Digital or demand for digital solutions, I mentioned this one. Also when you look to schools, for example, how hard was it to enable schools to provide online classes for their schools, and being able to continue working from remote with the kids at home. And all this has been overcome, or at least not overcome, but we have done the right steps, which shows how fast we are able to change. Imagine 3 years back, how much time it would cost to introduce a new, I don't know, online learning platform, a new communication platform, etc., for digital services. And this comes exactly then to personalized offers. I think right now, we as a telco industry are very good in selling services to our business customers, standardized services to our consumer customers. These are very generic services. We are selling bandwidth, we are selling connectivity, we are selling a certain data volume. This needs to be more specified to the customer's needs, to the application that is needing the connectivity. And exactly this is what we as an industry have to understand. So my key message here as the intro, as we are talking about all the technical solutions later on, is let's start thinking from the customer. And thinking from the customer, it's easy to say. What does it mean? We need to start interacting more closely with our customers, and not just we as an operator, we as a solution provider, we as a cloud provider, whatever, but we together. So I think that's an important part. There are a couple of trends, I call it here trend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that we need and we as Telefónica look at. So 5G definitely is one of the key trends in Telefónica we put our chips on. We are doing really, really good in rolling out 5G. We are also able and ready to activate 5GSA. We didn't enable it yet due to the need, or due to the question, what is exactly the service that we offer for this one? But we are doing really good. So the plan is that by end of the year, we have around 50% coverage with the real 5GSA. By end of 2025, then the full coverage of the entire country. What comes with 5G, and I think that's the change that will bring in 5G. It's not just building another G. So I heard in one of the conversations a nice statement that was, if we build 5G as another G, it's the last G that we build, because the industry and all the investors will not trust in us that we really leverage the money that is invested in this technology. It's just a capacity extension. So therefore, after 3G, after 4G, 5G is really the time that we need to turn it around and say, okay, how can we commercialize it? How can we get money apart from selling connectivity, apart from bringing a certain bandwidth to the customer? And 5G, I think it's the first time that in the standards, in the implementation, also in the understanding of the ecosystem, it's standardized from the beginning to the end. So device, application device to the service that we provide. As an example, also mentioned here on the slide, it's slicing. For sure, we need the 5G, the real 5GSA enabled before, but slicing gives us the possibility, and we in Telefónica actively work on that with different partners on enabling, implementing that, in order to provide specific connectivity for certain applications depending on their needs, either with low latency, either with ultra high reliability, or with a certain guaranteed bandwidth. And I think that's what we need. And we don't need this for the consumer customer right now. It's a discussion that we have with the enterprise, with the B2B customers, in terms of, okay, if they have a concrete use case, how can we enable it? And my colleague Jan Busch will later on talk a bit about what are we doing in private 5G. We are looking not just in providing a connectivity, and then usually the question comes, what is the difference between Wi-Fi and 5G? I think that's the wrong question. For the beginning is, what is the service, what is the problem statement you would like to solve, you would like to realize, and then thinking about, okay, how can we enable it? In the end, it's maybe a mixture of different kind of connectivities. 5G will play a key role here in terms of then really enabling the customer's use case. Voice over new radio. I think you all remember that in 4G, voice in the beginning was quite a difficult story. It's different in 5G, so we have been also able to show already an end-to-end voice call between two cities here in Germany. We are right now implementing all the mobility, the emergency call handling, etc. So this will give us, right from the beginning, the capabilities to also use the 5G network for voice calls for our customers. When it then comes to services that we build on top of it, I think we all talk about VR, AR use cases. those of you who have been able to experience what does it really mean, they understand quite well what is the value in that. So when you have VR services, I was just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago at a construction site, and they have plotted the whole construction site virtually into the VR world, and then you put on the VR glasses and you can go around. It was just the main frame of the building, so there was nothing in there. Just started the wiring and the plumbing for the water pipes, and then you could go into the building and look around with the glasses, see, okay, this is how it would look like internally. Maybe that's a nice one. The more concrete use case was to see, are the wires put at the right place? So they really did some quality checks based on that. And this is the kind of services we will be able to deliver with 5G technologies, because for sure at the remote side, there's not a coverage maybe in the large, or in the extent like we have it here, which is maybe optimized for the case, as it is a new plant, and it needs to be just covered by connectivity. So when we talk about 5G automatically, and I heard it before, Dirk mentioned it, and we also have seen it in the intro from the representative of Dresden, Industry 4.0 is a really, really important area. Not just in Germany, it's a worldwide thing. I have been in the US 3 weeks ago, also talking there to the hyperscalers, and had very great sessions with AWS, and impressive to see how many different use cases are already being covered by cloud providers together with the industry. And the question, and that was one of the key takes I took from this discussion there, is we as the telco industry have provide really a value for this, because all the things are useless and nothing if you don't have connectivity. And think about the bakery shop, the question I asked in the beginning. How would a bakery shop look like at the sales desk 5 years ago? There was no connectivity, there was no Wi-Fi, there was no wireless connectivity. So all this has been established, and it's the same here for industries. We are talking to different partners in the industry. We have been one of the first private 5G network providers in Germany, in Europe, and we did the solution, the implementation with Daimler on this one. And this gives us the chance to start quite early talking to the ecosystem about, okay, what is beyond connectivity, the next thing that we have to solve? What is the problem statement that you have? And from that we have learned quite a lot, which is linked here to the new opportunities. So only when you start entering this discussion, so going away from selling the connectivity, you start understanding, okay, what is the real challenge of the customer? It's not the connectivity layer. It's maybe the security that comes on top if you provide certain services. It's the service that, or the application that maybe needs to adapt in order to run on the service. All this, and the private 5G networks is one of the key focus areas in Telefónica Germany. This provides us higher flexibility, and we see that solutions like private 5G needs to closely interact with our public network. This is also what we see out of the discussions with the customers we have in terms of really solving their customer problems. Sometimes they have a very dedicated use case in the factory they would like to solve. But then when it comes to, we have multiple factories, how can we transport and ship the good between? The public network comes in. So there's a big, close link to that. And therefore the flexibility, the efficiency is one of the key aspects here. As I said in the beginning, 5G is another kind of connectivity. In the agenda, I have seen also how we move from mobile to fixed connectivity, so that we cover both aspects in here. Mobile connectivity, in our opinion, in my opinion, will remain the main area, or the main connectivity solution. Nonetheless, bringing everything together, bringing both worlds together, mobile connectivity, fixed connectivity, solutions like SD-WAN will help to power this one. So saying that, Industry 4.0 powered by 5G is one of the key topics we look at Telefónica. We are doing really good here, have deployed a couple of private networks already, and really now learning from the discussions with the industry, with the ecosystem, how to bring it to the next level, how to sell the services instead of the connectivity. Enabling service, one of the things here, and cloud is kind of a favorite topic of mine, because I'm driving it in Telefónica also for the entire core network. So the network that is serving in the end the voice, the data, the billing and charging of the customer. We need to go away from the classical approach of we buy a monolithic solution, we move into a software-defined approach, also on the network side. We did this for quite some time on the IT side, and I see in my unit I have the honor to have both responsibilities, so IT applications as well as network applications, and I see the difference in the maturity of the solutions when we bring it to cloud. When I'm talking here about cloud, my point is we need to make sure that we transform not just only the IT, but also the network into a software-defined model, because this will give us, in the end, the flexibility to scale in, scale out, to deploy new service models, to have some try-and-buy mechanism, where we can offer customers the flexibility to try a certain thing without an entry barrier of building hardware in 6 months' time, of investing hundreds of thousand euros just for the first step, doing a first phone call or connectivity. So therefore, enabling services, going away from selling technology, I think that's one of the key things that comes with cloud technologies. We are working very close on this end with all the 3 big hyperscalers, AWS, Google, and Azure. We have just recently, earlier the year, launched our charging solution as part of our IT transformation in the Google Cloud. So it shows that we as Telefónica take it really serious. And we are discussing right now also how to move in our packet core network, our voice core network into the hyperscaler, into the cloud world. There are a lot of things that we have to look at in terms of security aspects, in terms of data privacy, and therefore we are working very close with BSI on this one. When we talk about cloud, the question is, why do we do this? Is it because of cost? Is it the flexibility I mentioned? Is it the flexibility of and the ecosystem that we open up with that one? I think it's more the latter one than the first one. So costs, I think for sure in the end there will be also a cost aspect when we talk about cloud. But for the moment, forget about this one. We need to look at how can we really leverage the benefits that we enable with moving into cloud. And the benefits are definitely that we have the same platform that application developers use, that we have the flexibility that I explained before in bringing in new services and also implementing these services in shorter time frames. On the next slide, you will see automation as a topic coming in. So therefore, cloud will be really a game changer, and that's why we as Telefónica push heavily for moving into cloud solution, not just the BSS part, which is far more advanced, but also the network applications for this one. Too fast. Last trend to focus on before I summarize, automation. So I talked about cloud before, and one of the core beliefs we in Telefónica have is that we, from the beginning, need to implement automation when we move to cloud. Why? Why do we? Because we see the life cycle of software, the changes coming in of new requirements, etc., requires that we have a much shorter cycle of implementing new software, of really delivering, trying out new capabilities and new functions, and showcasing this to our customers. So therefore, automation right from the beginning, starting from the delivery of the software until the deployment, until the operations, and later on also the lifecycle management in terms of upgrading the software, bug fixing, etc. This is one of the key beliefs that we have, and for sure built on top, and it's quite impressive to see what is already possible to do. We are building on AI ML technologies, so meaning we try to understand, okay, if certain pattern happens in the network, if certain things have been detected, what could it mean in terms of availability of the network? What could it mean in terms of customer behavior in the network in order to be able to react proactively on this one? So therefore, automation is quite a key aspect in all the journey that I described before. So 5G builds on cloud, and cloud builds on automation in order to really be able to leverage the capabilities and the benefits that cloud solutions will bring. I said here it's a CI/CD, CT, integration, deployment, and testing for the entire technology landscape. And we are pushing this quite hard as a key fundament, because only if we are doing this, and we see this already happening, where we have these capabilities implemented, we are much faster in adapting the solution, changing the solution. The teams I'm talking to, having implemented this already, tell me I would never move back to the old world, because they have a lot of manual things they do. There's a lot of error-prone processes in, so there is quite some benefit in doing that, in driving that, so that we really provide a better service to our customer with a better quality of experience. Summarizing what I said before, and coming back to the title of my presentation, talking about the future of connectivity. We as operators, we as Telefónica truly believe in, and this is also what we get reflected from the market, that connectivity has a value. And it has been increased, the value, over the past years, because everyone in the industry, everyone in the ecosystem understands what is the value of connecting things. And therefore, it's important to think about, okay, how can we be part of this game in the future of really delivering more customer value in terms of providing services that brings connectivity. I think we should not end up in a discussion of selling another 5G data package to our customers with low latency characteristics, etc. Let's think from the service side. And therefore, the first step is we need to further invest in the networks. I said before, if we build 5G as we did 2G, 3G, and 4G, so as another G, it will probably be the last G. So let's keep on investing, building out what we have planned in order to deliver the promise and being able to provide the customers. Transformation is a key word, because all what I described before, it's a transformation journey. It's not that we are doing an incremental step here, it's an incremental step there, it's a change here and there. It's a complete different thing that we have to manage as an industry. It's a transformation. Because today we are not managing applications in an automated way. We are not building on cloud. We are not providing solutions as telco operator. So for us, it's really a tremendous change. We in Telefónica have started for this purpose a couple of transformation initiatives. And sometimes it's hard to keep the overview of how many things we are driving at the moment in order to really transform our business and be there in serving the customers better. This will end up in that we have a say and a stake in talking to the ecosystem. If we just come there and offering a boring legacy connectivity, everyone will ask, okay, what is the value, the benefit that you provide? It's what you provide already today. So what are you doing more that is interesting for me? And it was impressive to see how Dresden sets up himself in terms of broadness of the industry that you brought here. It's not just one aspect, it's really an ecosystem. So I'm really impressed to see that one. And I think this is what is needed, the whole ecosystem to talk together and provide a solution. It will not work to deliver all the promises on 5G or on connectivity for the future by providing individual solutions, each of us one building block. It will just work together. And as I said before, in the end, it's a new way of working. It's a transformation journey. A new way of working just not mean we are building things in agile or we are doing things like here and there. It's really how to transform, change the processes, change the mindset, how we approach to our customers, how we also treat our customers. And this is what we also prepare in, or what we are working on in Telefónica Germany, of really changing how do we attract customers to work with us. It's not that we are going to the customer and saying and selling, it's how to attract them to work with us. With that, I would like to thank you. I hope I gave you some good or some interesting insights for the upcoming detailed presentations. Happy to take your questions if there are some. And then I wish you a very good 2 days with lots of interesting presentations. I will be there for questions also later on in the breaks. Thank you.